Amid a slew of controversies in recent weeks, Jeremy Clarkson has found himself at the centre of a rather meaty scandal.
The unfolding drama between Jeremy Clarkson, one of Britain's most outspoken television personalities, and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, has captured widespread attention following the controversial arrest of actor Rowan Atkinson. What began as an unexpected twist in British politics and entertainment has since evolved into a high-profile critique of leadership and authority. Clarkson, known for his unfiltered opinions, targeted Starmer in a scathing display of verbal prowess, leaving the Prime Minister reeling under public scrutiny. The incident has raised critical questions about the balance of power, the treatment of public figures, and the vulnerabilities of leaders in the digital age. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The arrest of Rowan Atkinson, a beloved cultural icon in the UK and beyond, was nothing short of a seismic event. Atkinson, whose career spans decades of comedic genius and dramatic finesse, found himself in the center of a legal storm that bewildered the public. Details surrounding the arrest remain shrouded in speculation, but early reports suggest it stemmed from actions perceived as a political or social critique, an issue that ignited immediate debate about freedom of expression and the politicization of legal proceedings. For a figure of Atkinson's stature to face arrest was not just shocking, it was emblematic of a potential overreach by authorities, a point that Jeremy Clarkson did not let pass unnoticed. Clarkson's reaction to the arrest was explosive and immediate. Using his platform with calculated precision, he delivered a blistering critique of Keir Starmer's government. While the arrest itself was ostensibly a matter for the judiciary, Clarkson drew a direct line between Starmer's leadership and what he framed as a concerning erosion of civil liberties. His remarks were not just about the arrest, but what it represented: a government perceived as overstepping its bounds to silence dissent, or individuals who challenge its policies. Clarkson's critique was as much a cultural rallying cry as it was a political indictment, urging Britons to examine the broader implications of such a precedent. Keir Starmer, already navigating a turbulent political landscape, found himself thrust into a crisis that was as much about optics as governance. While the Prime Minister attempted to maintain a posture of detachment from the legal proceedings, Clarkson's commentary forced the public and media to associate the arrest with a broader critique of Starmer's leadership style. Starmer, once heralded for his legal acumen and calm demeanor, now faced accusations of fostering an environment where personal freedoms could be jeopardized. The juxtaposition of Starmer's measured approach with Clarkson's bombastic criticism created a potent narrative that resonated with a nation increasingly wary of political overreach. The incident also highlighted the evolving role of public figures like Jeremy Clarkson in shaping political discourse. In an age dominated by social media and instant communication, figures outside traditional political spheres wield significant influence over public opinion. Clarkson's words carried weight not only because of his celebrity status, but because they tapped into a growing unease about the state of British democracy. His critique of Starmer extended beyond the immediate issue of Atkinson's arrest. It became a platform to question broader trends in governance, transparency, and the accountability of those in power. Clarkson's ability to distill complex political concerns into relatable, provocative commentary made his critique all the more impactful. The public's response to Clarkson's tirade was predictably polarized. Supporters of Starmer decried Clarkson's intervention as opportunistic and inflammatory, accusing him of stoking divisions during a sensitive time. Conversely, many rallied behind Clarkson's stance, applauding his willingness to speak truth to power and defend figures like Atkinson, who have become cultural touchstones. This division underscored a deeper rift in British society, where debates about freedom, authority, and individual rights often take on partisan dimensions. Clarkson's critique did not just provoke discussion, it exposed fault lines in the national conversation about leadership and accountability. One of the most significant implications of this event lies in its potential to shape perceptions of Keir Starmer's leadership. While Starmer has often been praised for his methodical and pragmatic approach, this incident has cast a shadow over his ability to navigate crises that require both political acumen and public reassurance. Clarkson's remarks amplified concerns that Starmer's government could be perceived as disconnected from the values and freedoms cherished by ordinary citizens. This perception, whether fair or not, could have long-lasting consequences for Starmer's political capital and his ability to maintain the trust of the electorate. At the heart of Clarkson's critique was a broader concern about the state of free speech in the UK. The arrest of a prominent figure like Rowan Atkinson raised alarms about the potential for governmental overreach in policing dissent or unpopular opinions. For many, Atkinson's arrest became a symbol of the fragility of democratic principles in the face of political expediency. Clarkson's pointed remarks struck a chord with those who fear that the erosion of civil liberties often begins with high-profile cases that set troubling precedents. His critique invited the public to question not only the specifics of the Atkinson case, but the broader trajectory of the nation's commitment to individual freedoms. The incident also served as a reminder of the complex interplay between politics and culture in shaping public opinion. Atkinson's work, characterized by its sharp wit and incisive commentary on human behavior, has long been a staple of British identity. His arrest, therefore, felt personal to many, as though an attack on him was an attack on the values he represented. Clarkson's defense of Atkinson tapped into this sentiment, elevating the conversation from a legal dispute to a cultural reckoning. By framing the arrest as a symptom of a broader cultural and political malaise, Clarkson ensured that the debate would extend beyond the immediate circumstances. For Keir Starmer, the timing of this controversy could not have been worse. Already facing challenges from within his party and from an emboldened opposition, the Prime Minister now had to contend with a narrative that questioned his commitment to fundamental democratic values. While Starmer's legal background and previous roles suggested a deep respect for the rule of law, the optics of the Atkinson case risked overshadowing his record. Clarkson's critique, delivered with a mix of humor and gravitas, ensured that the issue would remain in the public consciousness, complicating Starmer's efforts to steer the conversation back to his policy agenda. The broader implications of this incident extend beyond the immediate political fallout. It has sparked a renewed debate about the role of public figures in holding leaders accountable. Clarkson's critique was a powerful reminder that in a democracy, accountability is not confined to elections or parliamentary debates. It is a continuous process that involves voices from all corners of society. The incident also highlighted the risks faced by public figures who step into the political fray. While Clarkson's remarks were widely covered and debated, they also exposed him to criticism and scrutiny, illustrating the challenges of navigating a polarized media landscape. Jeremy Clarkson's intervention in this unfolding crisis was not an isolated rant. It was emblematic of a broader phenomenon where influential figures from outside the political establishment have increasingly stepped into roles as cultural watchdogs. Clarkson, with his decades-long career as a brash, no-holds-barred commentator, embodies a public figure unafraid to challenge authority. His critique of Starmer extended far beyond the specifics of Atkinson's arrest, touching on fears of creeping authoritarianism and a diminishing space for dissent in the UK. Clarkson's unique ability to distill complex issues into visceral, relatable critiques gave his words resonance, particularly among segments of the population who feel increasingly alienated by the political class. This raises important questions about the evolving nature of public discourse in the 21st century. The rise of social media platforms, the fragmentation of traditional media, and the erosion of trust in political institutions have created a fertile environment for figures like Clarkson to wield outsized influence. Unlike politicians who often temper their messaging to appeal to a broad electorate, cultural commentators operate outside the constraints of formal accountability, enabling them to speak more freely and strike a chord with public frustration. Clarkson's role in this saga underscores the growing importance of these figures as intermediaries between the public and the establishment, shaping narratives and driving debates in ways that traditional media and political actors increasingly struggle to match. Keir Starmer, for his part, faces an unenviable challenge in managing the fallout from this incident. Despite his reputation as a cautious and deliberate leader, the public perception of his response, or lack thereof, to Atkinson's arrest is shaping his political legacy. The controversy has thrown a spotlight on one of the most difficult balancing acts for any leader in a democracy: reconciling the need for legal enforcement with the imperative to safeguard civil liberties. Starmer's political opponents, as well as critics like Clarkson, have used this episode to argue that his administration has failed to strike this balance effectively. Presenting his government as overly bureaucratic, out of touch, and insufficiently protective of individual freedoms. The implications for Starmer extend beyond the immediate political arena. This controversy risks undermining the public's trust in the very institutions he seeks to lead, from the judiciary to law enforcement. As public confidence in these institutions falters, so too does the government's ability to effectively govern. Starmer's political survival may depend on his ability to regain the trust of a skeptical electorate, particularly those who view Atkinson's arrest as symptomatic of a larger malaise. Yet doing so will require more than mere rhetoric. It will demand tangible actions that demonstrate a renewed commitment to the principles of transparency, fairness, and freedom. The broader cultural impact of Rowan Atkinson's arrest is equally profound. Atkinson is not merely an actor, he is a symbol of British wit, resilience, and creativity. His work, from the bumbling humor of Mr. Bean to the sharp satire of Blackadder, reflects a uniquely British perspective that resonates across generations. For someone of his stature to face legal repercussions has shaken the nation's confidence in the inviolability of its cultural icons. It also raises questions about whether contemporary Britain is becoming less tolerant of dissent, particularly when it comes from figures with significant public influence. This fear is compounded by the fact that Atkinson's arrest has occurred in a global context where freedom of speech is under pressure in many democratic societies. Clarkson's public attack on Starmer has also exposed deep divisions within the British political landscape. The response to Clarkson's critique has been starkly polarized, reflecting the broader fragmentation of British society. On one side are those who see Clarkson as a necessary provocateur, someone willing to speak truth to power and challenge the political establishment's perceived overreach. On the other are those who dismiss his critique as hyperbolic and self-serving, accusing him of exploiting a sensitive issue to amplify his own platform. This polarization mirrors broader societal divisions that have been exacerbated by years of political and economic uncertainty, from Brexit to the pandemic. The role of public sentiment cannot be overstated in this ongoing saga. At its core, the controversy surrounding Atkinson's arrest and Clarkson's critique of Starmer is as much about perception as it is about substance. Public confidence in leaders and institutions is shaped not only by their actions, but by how those actions are perceived and communicated. Clarkson's ability to frame Atkinson's arrest as emblematic of broader systemic failings has put Starmer on the defensive, forcing him to grapple with a narrative that questions his competence and his government's priorities. This illustrates the power of storytelling in shaping political realities and the precariousness of leadership in an age where narratives can shift with dizzying speed. For Clarkson, this episode may well cement his position as one of the UK's most influential cultural commentators. While he has always been a divisive figure, this incident has underscored his capacity to galvanize public opinion and force uncomfortable conversations about power, freedom, and accountability. His critique of Starmer has resonated not just because of its content, but because of its delivery, direct, unapologetic, and infused with a sense of moral urgency. Whether one agrees with Clarkson or not, his intervention has undeniably shifted the terms of the debate, challenging the political establishment to confront issues it might otherwise have preferred to avoid. For Starmer, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. To move past this controversy, he will need to demonstrate not only his commitment to protecting individual freedoms, but also his ability to lead with conviction and clarity in the face of adversity. This will require a delicate balancing act, as he seeks to address the concerns raised by Atkinson's arrest without undermining the authority of the legal system or appearing reactive to public pressure. His response, or failure to respond, will likely have a lasting impact on his political fortunes and his ability to unify a fractured nation. The implications of this saga extend far beyond the UK, touching on universal questions about the nature of democracy, the limits of free expression, and the responsibilities of leadership. In an interconnected world, the issues raised by Atkinson's arrest and Clarkson's critique are not confined to one nation. They resonate with broader global debates about the health of democratic systems and the threats posed by authoritarian tendencies. This makes the resolution of this controversy not just a matter of national interest, but a case study in how modern democracies navigate the complex interplay of culture, politics, and individual rights. At its core, The controversy surrounding Jeremy Clarkson's critique of Keir Starmer after Rowan Atkinson's arrest is a reflection of deeper anxieties about the direction of modern Britain. It has exposed the tensions between authority and freedom, between leadership and accountability, and between cultural values and political priorities. While the immediate drama may eventually subside, the questions it has raised will continue to shape public discourse, influencing how Britons view their leaders, their institutions, and their place in the world. In the end, this episode is not just about Clarkson, Starmer, or Atkinson. It is about the soul of a nation grappling with its identity in a time of profound change. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us? What are your thoughts on Jeremy Clarkson's comments about Keir Starmer? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.